everyone, welcome back to Trike Talk. I'm Harold.
And I'm Brayden.
And we're here to talk trikes. Here at Trike Talk, we talk a lot about the reasons that you should get a trike. But what Brayden and I are dealing with daily are the reasons and the concerns that you guys have about why you shouldn't get a trike. And we're going to address those here today for the reasons you shouldn't have a trike and how we combat around that.
What are the reasons you should not buy a trike? Let's get into it.
Everyone should get a trike,
we'll
get to that.
First reason that I hear all the time, why are your recumbent trikes, why do they cost so much more than a bike? You know, if I come from the bike industry, I mean, immediately I'm noticing you're talking Cat Trike, Ice, Azub, HP. You're so expensive. You know, why?
Oh, it's a misconception, actually. Now, if you're in the biking industry, you're going to know that on average, a high-quality bike is going to be on par with what you're going to get for a high-quality trike. I think most people are looking at the more accessible bikes like you'd find at Walmart or places like there that are very low in price, but with that, you're also getting very low-quality components, I'd say.
Low-quality components, low-quality support, right? But, you know, all of that to say, yeah, there are cheap trikes. We got a couple. Right. I mean, there are budget-friendly options.
You don't have to go into the multi-$1,000 trike with all the bells and whistles. There's trikes that you can pay for well under $2,000 and have everything you're going to need for forever.
Right. Now, that's not to say that, you know, all trikes, the trikes are expensive. It's an expensive hobby, and it's a range, like all things, right? We have some configurations that are like $20,000.
You can get up there really quickly.
Mm-hmm. And like with some adaptive, you know, capabilities, yeah, it's going to cost a little bit more, but that's not to say we have trikes that, you know, they're priced like $1,500.
Right.
You know, so it ranges. You know, what are you looking for? How are you trying to get into it, and what can you afford?
Right, and of course, for those that need to get into a trike and you are having that issue and getting the trike that you need, there are ways to get around that in price. We offer financing here. There are several grants that you can apply for that we can get you in contact with. If you're a veteran, you can go through your VA recreational therapy program. They'll be happy to help you get into something. And that's where we come in and just work with you to get into a trike.
On the subject of, let's work together. Let's get you the trike you need. Like, that leads us right into the second subject I want to get into. These are complicated, you know?
Oh, yeah.
One, complicated to, know the one I want, or the accessories that'll work with the trike I get. How do I even start and begin accessorizing this complicated if I knew nothing about them?
Trikes are going to be more complicated. You have an extra wheel. You have a lot more steering components. You have a tie rod to worry about. But when it comes down to the most important part of the bike, or the trike, you have the drivetrain, and that's going to be pretty much exactly the same as you would find between either or. Just a little bit longer on a trike, of course.
Like, they're pretty standard now, right? I mean, your fundamental parts, drivetrain, brakes, these are the same that you'd find on a bike. Any qualified bike shop can work on a trike.
Right.
They're pretty similar in that regard.
Right.
And as far as like accessorizing goes and making sure you get the right water bottle holder, exit assist bars, headrest, you know, because it gets complicated from brand to brand. That's what we're here for.
Talk to us, you know, email us, go to any of the resources that we have, or if you have a dealer that works on trikes, they're going to know.
They should know
how to work on it too.
But if they don't, we're pretty accessible. Give us a call. We can set you up.
Another reason that we hear commonly enough is, how do I even operate a trike? They look so different from a bike or anything else that I've seen out there on the roads. How do I operate these?
I mean, coming into it, they're very forward looking, right? The steering's going to be different than a bike most of the time. They're going to sit a lot lower. So those are big concerns, right? How do I steer one? How do I use one?
Right.
And I have yet to find someone who actually sits in the seat that doesn't immediately click, oh, this is super easy to steer, you know?
Even getting into the seat's going to present a challenge on the trike, because you have to step over a boom. That adds another dimension of complexity. I mean, we see it often enough here where people have an issue where they step over the seat. But, you know, when it gets into it, you can back into a trike. And just doing that deep crouch in, and everything's easy to go.
I mean, there's a bunch of different ways to, like, mount a trike and get into that seat and do it comfortably where you're not going to fall over. It's funny that people always, you know, think it's difficult to throw their leg over the boom. Where I understand the concerns, it is a whole lot more difficult to throw your legs over a bike.
Right.
So just to rip that Band-Aid off, this is going to be generally easier. Another thing to mention, talking about, you know, ease of entry, there are a lot of different seat heights among all models of trikes, right? And generally speaking, the higher the seat, the easier it is to plant your butt in it and enjoy riding. But all that to say, yeah, they're a little foreign if you've never ridden one or taken the time to take a look and see how they function. I promise you, they're easy.
It's a lot easier than it looks, everybody.
I know a lot of people that can absolutely ride a trike, and I know a lot more people that have never taken the time to learn how to ride a bike, and now that they're in their older age, are never going to. Anyone can ride a recumbent trike.
Absolutely.
It takes zero learning, no learning curve.
Other reason that people are concerned about getting into a trike is storing and transporting. Trikes are wider, a little bit harder to move around than a bike where you just have a narrow frame. So if you're putting into an SUV, if you're trying to store this in a cramped garage, what are some ways that you can get around that, or what are some things to consider while you're getting a trike?
Right, and as much as I'd love to pretend, yeah, I can fit any of these trikes in my Charger, I mean, that's just not the case, But there are things to do, right? One, obviously, vehicle is going to be a big one. You mentioned SUVs. Most of the time, I'm able to fit a single trike into an SUV, no problem, right? If I have two trikes, that's kind of always been the difficult thing, right? And a lot of people don't know, just like they sell bike racks, they sell trike racks.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah,
crazy thing to think of.
They're
a little harder to find, but they are out there. And I know we carry a couple that we're particularly fond of, like the Sunlight one. That one works great. But what if, say I'm coming in with my wife and I want to get a trike for both of us, but my trails are far enough away to where I have to move them with a car? How do I get around that?
Yeah, and transporting two trikes really is the difficult part. And I hate to throw the same answer at you, but they make dual trike rack carriers.
That's crazy.
You can carry two trikes. Now, it does require a 2-inch receiver, which I know not every vehicle is going to take. So there are some things to consider before making that leap into a recumbent trike. Talking about size and transportation, it's a good time to also talk about storage. If you were in an apartment or a condo, or say you're on the 3rd floor of a building, I don't have a good way of storing these. How are people doing it?
Yeah, I see a lot of people finding a way to get a wall rack mounted and then mounting them vertically. That's going to save you a lot of space there. Even some people will take their wheels off and then just tuck them away and then put the wheels back on. That's a little bit more work, but I've seen that work pretty well.
I'm glad you said they hang them on the wall. We have a pretty decently sized showroom, but we hang trikes all the time.
Yeah,
we have hooks in our walls. We hang them constantly. It's the only way to really conserve space, at least for the floor.
Right.
A lot of these trikes, if your concern is, storage, and then I need to get a compact trike, some of these fold. So
Absolutely.
Getting a folding model that you can collapse and fit into a closet is perfect.
They take up half the length of what you're going to have normally.
So there are options. There are ways to fix these issues.
A common enough question, and we've addressed it in plenty of other videos here, is how do I remain visible on a trike? They're lower to the ground than a bike. I'm concerned about being seen by cars or other bike riders. How do we go about that?
And I hate to beat up a dead horse. We've done tons of videos on it, so we'll try to get through this one quickly. I notice a lot of new trike riders. This is their first concern getting out there, and as soon as they're out there, I think it kind of dawns on them. Oh, maybe I'm a little more visible than I thought I was. I'm a very unique shape. Cars are going to notice me a little bit more than I thought.
Right.
That being said, you are lower, so there are some safety concerns to have. Just a quick fire some. Get a big flag. You want something tall and noticeable for taller trucks, and get some obnoxious lights. Get something bright and flashing.
Even if you're not going to be riding at night, you should get a headlight and a tail light and keep those flashing while you're riding, either in the day or in the night, just so you can have that extra layer of visibility.
Oh yeah, and then another one that I always hear is the frame color. We have a lot of cool color options, some of them darker than others. I do think that there is a argument to be made that a brighter color will be more visible. Another thing to point out, they're going to see your shirt. So wear a bright shirt, be noticeable. Don't wear dark colors when you're riding at night specifically. So keep that in mind. But
should be good rider etiquette too that I'll toss in here. On a bike or on a trike, you need to remember that you are essentially invisible. That's how you should act while you're riding. You're not. Don't count on everyone seeing you. Practice defensive riding.
I like defensive riding. Yeah. On the subject of safety, I do want to get into it. A recumbent trike is going to generally be safer than a bike, right? I mean, you're not going to tip over. There's a lot more stability in a trike. You don't have to worry about maintaining a cadence. You're not going to trip over, right? Visibility is your main and valid concern, and there are tons of solutions to make up for the visibility.
Absolutely. Get some lights. Get a flag. You'll be okay.
Get a horn.
Yeah, do it.
Make some noise. Be annoying a little bit.
Get some speakers. Why not? Pump up the jams.
We should add underglow to these trikes.
We should.
Another great concern, and I think this comes more from your avid bike riders, you have a third wheel that's going to make you slower and heavier. What's your argument?
Get a lighter trike. Get a larger rear wheel. There are trikes out there that have narrow wheels, very light frames, and while they might not be as fast as a bike, they're going to be pretty dang close. And then, of course, we've talked about it at length. You can get the great equalizer and get a motor too, if you just want to be fast.
I'm going to make this video another motor video. I mean, it can't be overstated. If you're worried about speed, you know, motor's always going to keep up with whatever you're doing. So if
speed devils.
The big concern I see is, you know, I can't ride a bike. I'm being forced into a recumbent trike now. I still ride with a lot of friends that are on bikes. How am I going to keep up with them? I do suggest you get a motor.
Right.
You know, yeah, you can go a fast trike. You can still maintain a good cadence. You can get a good speed on a fast frame. A motor's always going to be your great equalizer when it comes to speed.
There's no shame in getting a motor, and if anyone gives you shame, shame on them. As long as you're getting out there and riding, it's better to be riding outside and living than being inside and dying.
You did skip one of my questions. They're heavy. You know, you might have solved my speed issue of keeping up with bikes, but hey, what if that third wheel has to add a lot more weight?
Not really. I mean, they're not going to be much heavier than a bike is. We have trikes here that are lower than 50 pounds, or we've had bikes come in through here, believe it or not, that weigh above that.
Sure. Again, it always depends on the model and what you intend to do with it.
Touched on it a little bit for people that have riding groups and they're looking to continue their riding with a trike. What if I'm the guy out there that doesn't have any riding friends? What if I have a trike and I don't have anyone to ride with? That's stopping me from going out.
I understand the concern of being the only one with a recumbent trike in your area. And while that might be true, and I do know of people out there that are riding solo, I think you'd surprise yourself. We ship trikes all the time. We've been doing it for the better part of 20 years. It is a booming industry. Right. So if you want to be a trendsetter in your local area and be the first to get out there on a trike, I guarantee you won't be the last.
Yeah, you'd be surprised at how quickly other people will catch on and latch on to trikes too, or even just riding with you.
And they're pretty sweet.
Oh yeah.
That's all we do.
The trike community that we work with are some of the sweetest people we have here. And of course, if you're watching this video, you're part of that group. If you want to find other people that are riding, get involved. Go to our Facebook. Go to our comments below. Say how you ride. You know, why you got into a trike and the reasons that you still keep riding.
Yep. And remember, like and subscribe. Stay tuned. We'll be doing a lot of these videos. And as always, what should people remember, Harold?
Remember to relax, spin fast, and ride trikes. Have a good one, guys.
Take care.